So as a Sonic the Hedgehog and Sega superfan, I am absolutely loving the fact that we are getting so many high quality productions set within the Sonic live action universe. This is honestly absolutely brilliant, and I was lucky enough to be invited to the global premiere of Knuckles, which was just so fun. And at that global premiere event, we all got gifts right at the end, so I'll do an unboxing video of this right at the end. And Knuckles was such a cool character in Sonic, the second film being released from this live action universe, and Idris Elba in particular did such a good job in that film, and everyone was raving about his brilliant performance. So the fact that he's getting a dedicated 6-episode series focused on the Knuckles character is so cool, and this series is set in between the events of Sonic the second film and of course the upcoming third film, which I just cannot wait for. I think that film is just going to be absolutely extraordinary. But anyway, let's go back to the Knuckles series. So this focuses on Knuckles' past, how he's climatizing himself onto Earth, while still of course being an Echidna warrior at his heart, whilst he's also imparting all of his wisdom in such a hilarious way, with such a kind and naive deputy character. Now, certain moments in this series, if I'm being completely honest, do feel a little bit more skewed towards a younger audience, and it is a tiny bit of a shame, as I absolutely love the Sonic world because of the fact that it isn't afraid to tackle subjects that lean more towards an adult audience. But that being said, there is enough here in the series for everybody to enjoy it, and if you are a video game superfan, then there's so many nice Easter eggs peppered across pretty much every single episode. I would say the Flames of Disaster are so synonymous with Silver the Hedgehog, and they do kind of kidify it over here, so I'm really hopeful that when Silver does make his live action debut in this universe, that they then properly do the Flames of Disaster storyline. So two of the contributing factors that made the Sonic and the second Sonic movie so successful is that the writing is really good, the CGI is really good, of course, after they messed up the original concept of Sonic. They then quickly fixed it, and I actually think that the end products with both those movies is really good. So it's really cool that they continued all of those brilliant things that we love from the movies into this series in a really good way. So let's go through all of the main players now. So like I said, Idris Elba is leading this show front and center as the hot-headed and overly serious Knuckles character, and I love the stark contrast that he has with Sonic, and those moments in the first episode are just so good. And of course Sonic's got a little bit of an advantage because he has been on Earth for a little bit longer than Knuckles has, but still his personality being really carefree, being really fun, being really funny is just so different to Knuckles, and I just feel like they absolutely nailed it from that perspective. Speaking of him being new to Earth, they really do also explore that fish out of water storylines, and the things that happen with this character in the house in the first episode is also really cool. And I love how they borrow a number of storylines from the movies that were happening with Sonic. For example, people wanting and using his powers, which is exactly what is happening with Knuckles, so it was really cool to see that continuity. Adam Pally is surprisingly really good as Wade. I wasn't thinking that this guy was going to work in this universe, as he's a bit of an overly childish and a little bit of cringe in moments, but surprisingly his comedic moments do actually work within this universe, and I think he's a really cool character actually now that I think about it, to be partnered with Knuckles, as they could not quite literally be worlds apart. And you actually find out a lot more about Wade as the episodes progress, as you meet his mother, who is actually quite cool, and you also meet his sister, who unfortunately is just coming across as such an annoying character. They could have written her in a much more sophisticated way, and none of her jokes really land. You're not really rooting for this character, and I just feel like she unfortunately does detract quite a lot. Kid Cudi and Ellie Taylor are absolutely phenomenal as the villain henchmen. They are super comedic, a little bit camp at moments, but they have just nailed every single line and every single moment, and actually they are in quite a number of fight sequences, and they deliver on that. I feel like they're actually quite threatening as villainous characters, and they just work within their little unit of an evil hierarchy in such a good way. So both of them, I have to say, do such a phenomenal job. Rory McCann similarly is really good as the buyer, the big evil villain in this series, and is really cool as he is a lackey of Dr. Robotnik. So I feel like even though Robotnik isn't in this series, you can definitely feel his wider presence, and I just think from a storyline perspective, they wrote that quite well. And of course, like I said, some movie guests from the first two films do some cameo appearances in the first episode, and I absolutely loved it. So they filmed this back to back with the third movie, So they were able to bring in certain players, and I just feel like it just builds this universe in such a good way and just continue it from the second film in such a good way. So not only does it feel really connected, I just feel like the storylines are just so seamless as a result. And speaking of the third film, I cannot wait for that third film, especially as it's going to be centering all around Shadow the Hedgehog. And you just know all of his sequences are just going to be so cool. I'm a little bit gutted that Hayden Christensen isn't voicing Shadow the Hedgehog, as he could have been absolutely phenomenal. But I'm sure that Keanu Reeves will similarly do a good job. That film cannot come soon enough, but I do think it's going to end the year in a really, really cool way, which is absolutely fantastic. And now I promised I was going to do an unboxing for this gift that they gave right at the end of the screening. So let's do a little bit of an unboxing now. Really, really cool, lovely Knuckles ribbon and a really cool box over here. So let's see what's inside. Ooh, it's a really nice Knuckles keyring, gold plated, and it says Knuckles on it, which is really, really nice. So thank you so much, Paramount Plus, for giving that and hosting such an absolutely outstanding series premiere. So as far as Knuckles the TV series is concerned, I really, really enjoyed it. I am super biased as I have played every single Sonic the Hedgehog video game and have watched everything, so I'm really, really invested as a fan. I do feel like this series does skew in moments a little bit too much towards kids, and I feel like it could have been absolutely epic if it just did the same towards adults and borrowed a little bit more from the video game series. But all of that being said, I really, really enjoyed it, and so for all of those reasons, I'm going to give it a solid 7 out of 10. Now I'd love to hear from you. What did you think of Knuckles? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.